Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
You've seen the sights on your TV. Now come and experience them in real life. Hi, it's Kristen Gates from iHeartMedia. Some of your favorite shows were filmed in Covington, Georgia. So come walk where the stars have walked from shows like The Vampire Diaries, The Dukes of Hazzard, and so many more. When you think of great stories and iconic films and TV sets, discover Covington and visit discovercovingtonga.com. That's discovercovingtonga.com. Take the tour and walk where the stars have walked in Covington, Georgia.
Times of old, in times of new, there's a guide to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field,
Oh man, I'm so excited. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Pop Culture Film Radio Podcast. We are sitting right at the electronic intersection of robots, androids, and cyborgs, human units. That's
beep boop
that's
bop.
A beep boop bop beep.
Beep beep boop 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 bop. You know the song that goes beep beep boop 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 bop beep boop beep beep bop bop
Beep boop bop beep beep boop
beep boop bop
bop boop 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 boop.
Mr. Krabs is a robot.
What's that from?
Come on, I was gonna give you so much. This is my generation. It's SpongeBob, man.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, me boy.
If
Enjoy the milk of a crab.
Everybody else is getting it, man. That's I left
Yeah,
cartoons behind probably around 93, 94. I moved on. Well, I did watch the anime, but as far as
Before
like
I was born,
yeah,
so.
yeah, before you. But you know what?
Yeah, I
I'm
grew
really
up on
excited
SpongeBob.
for this episode because probably mostly because I've always been into sci-fi and fantasy my whole childhood. I grew up with a lot of these endearing robot cyborg and android characters. We'll talk about the differences between all three of them because I think it's very important to differentiate. But we're glad you could be with us, folks. Cameron and Israel here for another exciting episode. If you want full episodes, just want to remind you, join us on our Patreon. Full episodes, extra episodes, and monthly live streams with Cameron and myself. It's a great time. We also have wonderful merch for you to check out. Go to our Instagram bio, link in the bio. We've got a wonderful little page with all sorts of cool merch for you if you want to enjoy that stuff. So please join us on Patreon.
Buy yourself a mug, buy yourself a shirt, buy yourself a hoodie, or maybe even you want to brighten up your decor in your living room. We also have living room pillows with the coveted PCFM grenade on it. So check out our merch store. We got some cool stuff there. Also stickers. We got stickers.
We got
you
tons
love stickers?
of stickers. Yeah,
stickers.
We got great stickers, actually. I gave them out at SHOT Show.
Really
this year.
awesome.
That was a lot of fun. But ladies and gentlemen, let's face it, robots are cool when you're fighting against them or fighting with them. If a robot is in battle, you know it's going to be a good time. So we want to take some time to talk about all the robots, cyborgs, and androids that we love in pop culture, military, and otherwise. And I'm very excited. I feel like this is one of those subjects that I could talk about all day because I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. Why do we like robots?
Yeah.
Do we like them 'cause-
random question, Izzy. Why do you love / hate robots in pop culture? What are some of your favorites and why? Will robots ultimately destroy us? What's the difference between robots, androids, and cyborgs?
The answer is
and no, I'm not reading a script.
No, that's totally random and a really impromptu question. I'm glad you asked, Cameron. We'll start with the robots destroying us first. I mean, I ultimately think that we will be the ultimate demise of ourselves, but I think robots are going to help a little bit.
Yeah.
At least the algorithm is going to help, whatever that is.
A hot topic to talk about, too,
The
especially
AI.
with the birth and all the implementations we've seen in the past couple of months of AI, which is, everybody's losing their minds saying like AI is going to steal our jobs and whatnot. But this conversation has been around for such a long time. Actually, when I was in school for college, this was a conversation I had to,
wow.
dedicated an entire unit on AI implication. I had to read an entire book about AI implication and the future of it and what's the benefits and what's the, obviously the negative effects of this So it's not like we haven't seen this coming. It's just
Yeah.
people. I feel like people just brush it off to the side because it was some sci-fi / theory that they thought would never come to fruition. But no, it is being implemented, and it's taking over like a lightning storm.
Yeah, I think I think with a lot of countries, modernization, there's always a bit of a conflict, right? It's the horse-drawn carriage people versus the car people. It's the auto workers versus the machines that are coming in to replace them. It's modernization, and I guess maybe with capitalism, with the desire to get more efficient, to pump out more products at a cheaper price. If you can find some sort of automation that helps you to do your job better, or helps you to run a company better, or helps you to make a product faster and cheaper, or maybe at higher quality, it's such a temptation to do it. You have to have like a strong moral reason not to, really, because I feel like we're all just, I heard something the other day in a conversation, somebody was talking about AI and the fears of AI. He's like, people are afraid that AI is going to replace people. No, AI is going to replace people who don't know how to interact with AI. Like, because it's going to replace jobs. And the thing is, like, everyone's like, they're going to take our jobs. And yes, they absolutely are.
It 100% will take your job, because companies need to innovate and they need to lower costs while boosting efficiency. So the real question is, the AI is going to take my job, but then what do I do? Right. So it's not going to be like, okay, AI is already flipping burgers. You can go to McDonald's and have a burger create you one, other than a low qualified person, with not many skills. Mm-hmm. Flipping the burger for you. But it's like, okay, that should be motivation to, learn how to work on these AIs, because that's going to be the new job, just boom.
That's going to be the job skill, is interacting with AIs.
Yeah, literally. It's okay. Instead of using, what's the question they usually ask? Are you comfortable using Microsoft Excel and Word? But it's like, okay, that question is going to shift to, are you comfortable using, AI? So, and that's just AI. We're not, obviously, they're not full-blown robots yet walking and talking around. I mean, kind of. Some of Boston Dynamics has some. But it's a good question. And I think it's a scary question for a lot of folks. But, it's instead of kind of, stopping and being like, well, AI is going to take my job. AI is going to take all of our jobs. Let's be honest. But it's like, okay, well, how I need to learn a new skill set. That's what it comes down to, is learning a new skill set of how to, work with AI instead of against AI.
So maybe one of the things when it comes to pop culture is that's one of the services that pop culture provides, is an exploration of our relationship between humans and machines, our humanity and computer programs, or like exploring where that's going, where it's taking us, the dangers of it, the advantages and drawbacks of it, not just the kind of Matrix post-apocalyptic dystopian future where robots or machines take over and we totally lose our humanity, but the other side, like, how can they make us better? How can we sometimes combine with them, like in the terms of, and when it comes to like cybernetic implants or ghost in the shell kind of type of things, where can they make us better, or is it ultimately an advantage? And then with games like, there's one game we could talk about, Soma, like, what does it ultimately mean to be human? Is there a point at which a robot could become so advanced that it becomes legitimately alive? And is there a point the other way where a human could become so enmeshed in our technology that we lose something or all of our humanity? So you can get into that. That's what sci-fi is good for. It's for exploring those kinds of broader existential questions about humanity, and using the
what
framework
is the meaning of life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So then tell me, a sci-fi nerd, what's the difference between robots, androids, and cyborgs?
Okay, so for me, I always felt like robots were one where they were never human. I don't think androids were human either, right? But robots, so robots and cyborgs, I feel like cyborgs are like is an enmeshing of humanity and mechanics, right? Like the Borg from Star Trek, they're cyborgs, right? They are part biological and part mechanical or robotic or whatever, or computers. So I feel like cyborgs are kind of easy to That's easier to answer. Like Cyberpunk, people got cybernetic implants. They replaced an eye or a limb or a heart.
They're cyborgs.
Yeah, they're cyborgs in that regard. But then androids, I think of like Data, right? He's an android. He is an artificial human construction, right? He's got a computer for a brain. He's superhuman. He's fast and strong, but he's not human, so he's made to be human. Robots.
Yeah.
Now, I'm having trouble differentiating between androids and robots. Like robots.
May I help you?
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. So according to the experts on Quora,
cheater.
Robots are simply machines made to mimic life and perform manual tasks. Example of this, R2-D2, right? Okay. Not a humanoid, just a machine, right? Okay. Technically, my espresso machine downstairs, that's a robot, right?
Okay.
My vacuum that operates by itself, that's a robot. You hit it right on the head with androids. Androids specifically are human form robots like Data. And then cyborgs are human / mechanical contraptions. So you have a human component to them. Maybe they have just like you said, an eye replacement or an arm replacement. Mm-hmm. So that would make them cyborgs. So androids, human robots. Robots are just pieces of equipment used.
Pretty broad spectrum.
Half human, half android.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I like that differentiation between the two. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, with that, we answered all those questions, the meaning of robots, androids, and cyborgs. Let's move on to some movies. And if you don't mind, I'd love to start off because I have a big favorite here that I grew up on, and I used to watch this movie all the time. I wanted to be a cyborg after this one, I, Robot with Will Smith.
Oh, cool. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It came out in 2004. It's Will Smith plays a cop in a futuristic society where robots or androids, because they are all in human form, pretty much have been designed and incorporated into everyday life. And Will Smith has a deep hatred for these androids because one night he was driving and there was a car accident where, his car and another car fell into a river where, he could have saved a young girl's life, but a robot, which they have specific parameters that they have to live by, and they always have to protect human life. Yep. That's one of their things, is they will never do anything that puts human life in danger.
Yep.
So a robot or an android comes and, rescues him and lets the girl drown in the car because he had a bigger chance of survival since he was full grown and wasn't as injured.
Right.
So the robot ended up picking him because of obviously the algorithm it ran. And it's like he has a better chance of survival, so we'll save him and let the girl die. So after that event, he ended up having a deep hatred because he doesn't believe that they don't have conscience. They can't think. They can't create art. They can't create music. They're just pieces of stupid machine. So basically, he lives his entire life just hating robots. Everybody has their own robot from this giant company that manufactures and sells them on the civilian market. But he refuses to use one, and he always thinks that they're evil inside. But obviously it kind of makes him an outsider because it's hard to implement yourself in a society where everybody uses robots and you're the one person that's against them.
It kind of feels like, as an outsider, you kind of feel like he's getting left behind. Like, get with the program.
Yeah, almost. Like he's still, like everybody's wearing the newest technologies, but he's still rocking All-Star Converse. Yeah. And
listening to records.
The date he's in. And everyone's like, where'd you get those shoes? And he's like, oh, well, I have a guy. And he still drives like a motorcycle where everyone else, that uses gasoline where everyone else is like on electric cars and everything. He basically is living in the past because he doesn't want to move forward with society because he doesn't like where they're going.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's a new generation of robot that this company has designed, and their main scientist that works for them is murdered, and they're trying to figure out who murdered him. Well, one of the new designed robots that the scientist was specifically working on, his name is Sonny, and everyone thinks that Sonny is the one that murdered his creator because he was at the scene. When they get there, they find him in the lab and they try to get him and he ends up running away. But Sonny is a little bit different because the scientist kind of gave him conscious.
Yeah.
He claims that he has dreams, and Will Smith is like, you don't have dreams, you're a stupid robot, you know? only people can have dreams. Only people are capable of, having all these types of thoughts. And he doesn't believe him. But turns out that Sonny's a little different from the other robots. And basically, ultimately, the program that runs all of the robots, like they all have kind of a hive mind.
Yeah.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/cocktail.
Kind of thing. It, becomes self-aware and realizes that humans need to be controlled and not, instead of, fighting alongside them or being a part of their everyday life, they should be controlled because they're ultimately, the only way to protect human life is to control human life because
the big thing
they're against themselves.
Yeah, the big thing in this one is they got the 3 rules of robotics, right? Which is a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law, and then a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. There's the 0th law, which says a robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to be harmed. So Vicky, who's like the supercomputer, she basically reinterprets these 3 laws to say, actually, the best way I'm gonna protect humanity is by taking over.
Yeah, and just enslaving it.
Yeah.
And controlling it. But so the movie's really good. Will Smith, you find out later in the movie, and spoilers ahead, folks, as always.
Oh my God, always.
But still, really cool movie. Will Smith is a cyborg. He has, genetically implanted an entire arm.
Yeah.
That, he ended up getting really injured during the car crash. So they gave him like this entire robotic arm that he has a personal connection to the scientist that died because he's the one that helped him get that implant. But you don't find that out till way later in the movie just because he has such a hatred and he kind of hates himself because he's like, I have robot technology in me. And it's, he's kind of self-deprecating and, is very angry and edgy. But yeah, after this takeover, he befriends one of the other scientists at the lab.
Yeah.
And, tries to convince her that robots are bad and like, he's the only one that believes they're bad and everyone's like, you're crazy, man. These things are here to help us. And then shit goes down and Vicky takes over and sicks all the new robot generations and tries to, and there's this cool like battlefield in the city where all the humans come against the robots and they're like fighting back with like clubs and, baseball bats and everything. And there's this big fight. And it's a super cool movie. I really enjoyed it watching it growing up. And I used to, I had an airsoft gun growing up because my mom wouldn't let me have real guns. And I used to sleep with it underneath my pillow just like Will Smith did because I wanted to feel cool.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing that, man. That's like a childhood, that's like one of your childhood memory movies.
Oh, yeah, it was one of my favorite ones. Yeah. That's where I learned my first curse words.
Oh, wow. Wow,
it was good,
man. Let's go deep because let's talk about Ex Machina and Ava, who is Alicia Vikander's character. For those of you that haven't heard, Ex Machina is a sci-fi film. Came out in Ex Machina 2014. Oh wow, that was a while ago. But super cool film. Definitely one of those sci-fi dramas that delves into the nature of humanity, because the basic premise is Oscar Isaac is this big tech mogul, right? He's this kind of eccentric, kind of Steve Jobs type person, and Domhnall Gleeson is a programmer in his company who wins a contest that allows him to fly out for a week and spend it with Oscar Isaac. And basically the nature of the visit is Oscar Isaac brings him up there because he wants to do basically what's called a Turing test, which is to be able to can you have a computer fool somebody into thinking that they're actually a human being? This, to the test to see if a machine could fool, like I said, could fool a human being into thinking that it's real. And so he introduces him to Alicia Vikander's character, who's Ava. And she's got like, it's wild. The special effects are amazing because she's got like a human face, but you can see she's got like a clear kind of translucent skull, and her body is completely robotic. And so over the course of the film, Domhnall Gleeson starts to become infatuated with Ava. And then you find out that Oscar Isaac has been doing these experiments, almost like a Frankenstein style thing, where he has had other women robots that he has had throughout the course of his experiments that he is just really just like tortured, and they've gone insane, and they've, they're all like, that later on in the film, you see they're all hanging up. He keeps them all displayed, but it's super wild. It's super mind bending. It was directed by Alex Garland, who did a great job. He did Annihilation later on too. And did he do a Star Wars film as well? But anyway, the movie itself, very well done. Because, and I think there's probably a little bit of like kind of gender equality kind of stuff in there, because Oscar Isaac is he's like a playboy, and he's a bit of a misogynist in how he acts. He has another android who never speaks, but who just does whatever he wants. And she's like scantily dressed Asian lady robot, and so ultimately at the end, like Domhnall Gleeson's character is convinced that he is convinced that Ava needs to be freed, and the whole time Oscar Isaac's like, he's like, you got to be careful, she's going to get into your head. I programmed her to try to get inside your head, to try to get you to try every tactic, including seduction, to try to get you, to really convince you. But in the end, Domhnall Gleeson does get convinced. He does get fooled by her because, he helps her to get out. And then her and the other lady robot end up killing Oscar Isaac right there in front of him. And then she does this like really seductive thing. She's like, could you just wait here for a second? And she goes and she takes the skin from all of the other models, the previous models that Oscar Isaac has experimented with, and she gives herself a full human body. She puts hair on and she puts real skin on. And then she just locks him in the house and leaves. Like there's a helicopter that's scheduled to pick somebody up, out in the field. And she goes and takes the helicopter. And then the last thing you see is that she's out in the world and she's free, and you don't know what she's going to do, good or bad, but she's out there now. And
she's doing it and doing it well.
Yeah, I thought the performances were really great. She does a great job as Eva. The special effects were pretty phenomenal too. So it's very, very toned down movie. There's only 3 or 4 actors in the entire film, and that really kind of put Alicia Vikander kind of on the map. I don't remember seeing her in too much before that, but super cool movie. Great exploration about what does it mean to actually be human? Could robots, could androids or computer programs ever gain sentience or like
free thinking, like free will?
Yeah, exactly. And do they deserve it if they ever did? Are they just machines for us to use? So classic sci-fi questions, I thought wrapped up in a pretty cool, pretty kind of really tense thriller almost type story.
Nice, man. Yeah, actually, I think I've seen Ex Machina, but it was one of those movies I put on the background and was like doing stuff, so I didn't really pay attention.
Definitely not one you can just kind of casually.
Yeah, I have to go back and like really watch it.
Yeah, really.
I mean, looking at the pictures, and you're right, like the special effects are amazing. Just like how they put that realistic face on, the robot. I wonder how they did that. It looks great. Yeah, I have to go back and definitely watch it. But yeah, that's like, she's 100% a robot though, right?
I would call her an android, right? Because
I'm sorry.
The purpose of the experiment was...
I want to use the proper identifiers here.
That's right.
I don't want to, I don't want to offend any robots. I don't want to offend any androids. Yeah, exactly. I got to identify them correctly.
No, she did a great job. Look at the special effects of her and just her not complete, not quite human form. Pretty amazing what they did. I'm sure there's a couple behind the scenes featurettes where they it looks like it probably was all just CGI. Like she had like a green screen outfit on, some sort of unitard or whatever. They just replaced everything.
Just her face exposed.
Yeah, just her face exposed. But
that makes sense. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to do it, and just use hardcore CGI.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so that's an android. Is Alita Battle Angel also an android, or is she a cyborg?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that I think she's probably an android because she is not human at all. I don't think she was ever human, which would make her like kind of in the cyborg category. But so she is found in the dystopian future. She is found in a trash heap. And then later on, you find out that she used to be a part of this kind of resistance cell against kind of the powers that be. And then she's reconstructed by this kindly scientist played by the German dude from Inglourious Bastards.
He's actually Austrian.
Sorry, Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz. He is Austrian. Yeah, Christoph Waltz.
He is Austrian, yes.
But yeah, Alita, man, Alita is amazing. This was actually a manga, so like a Japanese comic book from back in the day, man, 90s, mid to late 90s. And I remember first hearing James Cameron at Comic-Con talking about how he wanted to do Alita. And it's just like the most amazing things. But this is like, oh my God, like, I don't know when, like 2006, 2007, like way early days and it just became this thing where it looked like it was never going to happen. And eventually he decided to produce it. And then he got Robert Rodriguez to come in and direct it.
Yes.
And, there's problems with it. It's not the best movie, but man, it's so good for what it is. And I just wish it's one of those what if questions where you just wish that James Cameron would have taken the time to make the movie himself, because it would have been stellar. It would have been fantastic. Because James Cameron makes really good movies, but then he got caught up in Avatar 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Like he's going to be making Avatars until the day he dies, unfortunately. But you can tell he had a hand in it. And it's very well done. Alita, in the comic book, she has a little bit more depth. You find out a lot more about her background, obviously, because it's like, I don't know how many issues it was Battle Angel Alita, and I don't know, maybe for alphabetical reasons they decided to go Alita Battle Angel. So it pops up first when you're doing alphabetical.
Those are, obviously, when you're picking a title, you always have to worry about the alphabetical reasons.
That's right, the alphabetical reasons. But you know what? As with most things, Rosa Salazar, who played Alita, I actually got to meet at Comic-Con. I think it was 2018. She was hanging out. They had an Alita Battle Angel booth. I think it was Weta. It was the Weta Digital effects.
Weta.
That New Zealand places. But she was there, and she was hanging out with
Kiwi.
Yeah. I forget his name. I posted it on Instagram, but she was hanging out with another actor. But I was like, oh my God, you're this amazing Rosa Salazar. And I got a picture with her, and she was really excited about the film coming out. I hope that they do a sequel.
Super excited to meet you, obviously.
Yeah. She's like, oh my God, yours are right. I'm like, how do you know that? I have no social media or any kind of presence. He's like, no, I've been stalking you. I'm like, that's amazing. Thank you, Rosa Salazar, for stalking me. But her big thing is just not the classic kind of hero's journey, finding herself. They do a good job of kind of bringing her from, kind of unsure of herself. Even like they have Christoph Waltz doesn't have a lot of parts. He gives her kind of a basic body. And then she finds out that she has this past where she used to be this amazing warrior. She actually has this form of martial art or fighting style that there's a name for it, but only she can do. Like only her and like a few select warriors from this ancient battle a couple hundred years ago that were involved in. It's this awesome fighting style. And she can actually, if she has the right body or the right part, she can focus her energy and create like a laser edge, like with her fingers and stuff. And she ends up getting this like cool blade as well. But there's the setting is like, it's classic like class distinctions where there's like a giant slum that's basically a giant junkyard slum where they have these gladiatorial type games that go on, and then they have the city that floats in the sky. For the name escapes me right now. Well, that's where all the rich people live. That's where all the scientists are and all the upper class people. So
don't want to be in contact with the pores. That's like the worst.
You don't want to get your hands dirty.
No. We need a floating city.
Yeah,
we got to keep the pores out.
Floating city, yeah. Really a lot of fun. She ends up coming into her own when she has a fight. There's a Gruishka is another character that she defeats in the beginning of the film, and then the powers that be give him an enhanced body where he's got these attack hands where they sprint out, they spring out like a spring attack, like chainsaw kind of hands where they can cut anything. And then she fights him again, and it totally literally gets torn apart by him. But she manages to escape. I think some other guys come and save her. But they find Christoph Waltz character finds this ancient body. Or no, Alita finds it, but she doesn't want to use it, or he doesn't want her to use it. It's like this ancient battle body that's like perfectly created for combat. And so finally, when she's in dire straits, he places her into that body, and then she kind of reaches her full potential and goes after the bad guys. They ended on a cliffhanger.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/cocktail.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
At the very end, she finds out that the true bad guy, the true kind of puppet master pulling the strings, is up in the floating city, and and there's a shot of the actor. It's Ed Norton who's playing kind of the big bad. They were setting it up for a sequel, but I don't know that it made enough money for it to be like a hot commodity at the time. But I was reading rumors are starting to circulate about maybe possibly a sequel coming, and I just think that would be so cool. The manga introduced such a deep world. There's so much more about her character that you find out about in the comic books that they could explore. Like the whole battle, the kind of class warfare thing between the floating city and the garbage city, that's just like the beginning. That's just scratching the surface. So if only for my nerdly nostalgic heart, I certainly hope that they do it again. And Rosa Salazar, everybody gave a great performance. It was certainly an all-star cast. Christoph Waltz was in it, and man, a bunch of great people.
Bunch of aviators.
Yeah, Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, Ed Skrein, Mahershala Ali, who's going to be the new Blade coming up. But everybody did a great job. Even when she was completely covered by CGI, that was one of the feats in the movie, was that all her characters completely CG.
That's cool, man.
With Rosa Salazar.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to put some time aside to watch that one, because just based off your very long-winded description of this movie, there's a lot of action, a lot of cool aspects about it that I'll have to check out. So I'll add it to the list. It's officially on my list.
A high honor to get a movie added to Cameron's list.
Yeah. There's so much here. Because, I mean, obviously, you could probably talk about Star Trek and Data. And then Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, too.
Love, Death, and Robots was so fun because they get all these different animation studios to do these little vignettes. And not all of them, I don't enjoy all of them. Some of them are kind of weird. But, man, I think the kind of more straight storytelling where it's like classical storytelling, not something kind of weird. Like the very first one, Sonny's Edge, on the season 1, episode 1. Depending, I guess, which country you because they're not like all the same in order. But anyway, Sonny's Edge is a great one. That I love. It's Love, Death, and Robots explores all sorts of crazy sci-fi concepts, but
there's something for everyone.
Yeah, there's something for everyone.
I think.
But I want to give some honorable mentions in the television category. I guess this might be the anime category, but there are 2 anime series that I grew up with. Actually, maybe 3, if you want to count. One of them was more of a movie and had a TV show attached to it, but there was Robotech, and there was Neon Genesis Evangelion, and then there was Ghost in the Shell. And actually, all 3 of them feature the Veritex in Robotech, obviously robots, piloted by humans. And then Neon Genesis Evangelion, the Evas, which were the giant robots piloted by our young protagonists. And then Ghost in the Shell, Major Motoko Kusanagi, and then Bateau, both cybernetic. And actually, the Major Kusanagi more so because I think she's just a brain, like a human brain, inside a completely cybernetic body. And then Bateau is mostly human. He has cybernetic enhancements as well.
Okay, so they're all cyborgs.
All cyborgs in Ghost in the Shell, yeah. And grew up with that series. I actually grew up with the manga first, and then I remember the movie came out in the 90s, and it just blew everybody away. So well done. 1995, yeah. Just a great job. And I don't care what anybody says. I loved the Scarlett Johansson movie that came out a couple of years ago. I didn't think it was the best movie. I thought it looked visually amazing, which makes sense because I think the director came from cinematography and this was his first kind of major directing role. At any rate, I loved that movie as well. But Robotech, classic anime. The first cartoon I ever saw where a character actually died. I'd never watched a cartoon where a character died and then stayed dead before. That was pretty serious for me. That was even before I saw the Transformers movie.
How dead? Is this like one of those animes that was like super for kids, or was this like an anime?
Well, it was the regular anime. It wasn't necessarily for kids. It dealt with pretty heavy themes. Actually, a lot of characters ended up dying by the end of the series. And actually, the history behind it is that it was... the first section of Robotech was one anime, and then they had 3 anime series that they had kind of mushed together, and they rewrote the dialogue and redubbed them to make them one cohesive story. But there were actually 3 different series. There was Robotech, which was Macross, and then they had Mospedia, I think, which was the middle one, Southern Cross, and then, or maybe Mospedia was the third one. But they were, anyway, it was kind of an interesting lore there. What brought them over from Japan in the early 80s. But Neon Genesis Evangelion, super duper mega ultra like biblical themes, like very Christ-like and like weird kind of, definitely, I don't understand it. For anybody out there that has a cohesive explanation for what it all ended up meaning in the end with Neon Genesis Evangelion, which had a series and then I think 2 movies that they released. It starts off, that series is interesting because it starts off as kind of a monster of the week, right? It's near future. There was a cataclysm by, I forget something, Japan, Tokyo gets blown up. And then there are these monsters called angels, and they all take different forms. And they come and they attack Earth. Nobody really knows why, but the only thing that humanity has to stop them are these giant robots called the Evas. And there's like a red one, or there's a purple one, a red one. They I forget the reason why. They can only be piloted by prepubescent like kids, like 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds. So you've got the son of the head scientist, who's one. You've got I used to know all their names, but there's basically 3 main characters, and then a 4th one comes along later. But really well done, well animated. It starts off as kind of a monster of the week, and then it gets real weird. It starts getting real strange and real dark, and all these kind of oddball things start happening. And they've got something buried beneath the base that they have, their subterranean base. It's almost like this kind of, I don't know, it's some sort of biblical kind of angel kind of thing that's there, and I don't get it. It gets real weird. And there's actually 2 endings to the series. If you've ever seen it, there's one ending which is this real cerebral, philosophical type. I can't even understand. I don't even know what's happening in it, but then it just ends. And then there's a more kind of straightforward, there's a final battle. There's a lot of sacrifice and death. And then at the very end, they defeat the bad guy, but it's kind of like the main character goes insane or something. I don't know. But that's one of those series that just sticks with you. It will always stand the test of time, probably because it's so strange, because it dealt with such deep spiritual, I guess, semi-Christian, semi-Catholic themes. I don't know. I guess that's what happens when you get a Japanese person from Japanese culture to try to, they bring in all these kind of Western Christianity type themes and weave them into a story about giant robots fighting giant monsters. I don't know. Anyway.
And the world will never know.
The world will never know. The world will never be the same. So those are my honorable mentions in terms of the anime section. Almost no end to the Japanese have been doing robot stuff, android stuff, cyborg stuff for a long time, and not all of it family friendly, folks. Okay, so let's just remember that.
Sure, some adult themes,
adult themed anime,
which is why I'm gonna go watch it. But yeah, what about some games, man? Let's name off a couple honorable mentions, because I mean, robots, androids, and cyborgs obviously are not exclusive to movies and TV. There are a lot of video games. I mean, was Mega Man, was he a cyborg technically?
I think he's an android, because I think he was completely created whole cloth by Dr. Light to battle all of the evil robots that Dr. Wily was releasing upon the Earth. So I think he was like the good guy answer to the bad guy problem. So he was never human. Yeah. I don't think he was human. Okay. I think he was completely. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Shoot us a comment in Instagram.
Yeah, I think he's an android.
He is an android. So he was created to be human or lifelike or human-like, but he was never a human being. Yeah, Mega Man's one. I
used to play Mega Man on my Game Boy Color.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, so good.
Talk about nostalgia there.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I remember Mega Man. I remember Mega Man 1 for the Nintendo in the 80s. Being super hard. I could never quite beat it.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult game.
But then Mega Man 2...
there's that one guy that throws the saws at you, the red guy.
Yeah. It's all about beating them in order, right? You have to beat them in a certain order so you can use the previous guy's weapon to beat the next guy. But yeah, I mean, what is it, Blade Man or Cut Man? They always had the something man.
He was hard as shit. That's all I remember. I could not pass him. He'd always screw me up.
The first one was hard. The second one, I remember my brother brought it home and he was super excited to play it, but then he and my dad had to leave, and while he was gone I played through the whole thing and beat it, and he was so mad when he got back. He's like, what do you mean you already beat it? I'm like, it was really easy. And he was like so pissed off at me that I beat the game while he was gone.
No, terrible brother.
I know, I'm a
terrible brother.
I fell off the
series.
3
lashings
I know.
for you.
I fell off the series. There's been 20, 30 different Mega Man games. It's really one of those franchises that has stood the test of time.
It's like a Sonic the Hedgehog. It just will never die.
Yep.
Ever.
Other honorable mentions, Legion from Mass Effect. You got to talk about the Mass Effect series when you're talking about robots and cyborgs, because there's a whole race of robots that are attacking humanity, and there's one Legion that actually ends up being in your party. He ends up actually helping you, and then, of course, classic Mass Effect, you can choose what fate his race of robots ends up having, whether they're going to be good or whether they're going to train, whether you're going to wipe him out or let him join you, and what's going to happen to his character. He ends up, I think, sacrificing himself at the end of 3. But super, super great. Robo from Chrono Trigger, Super Nintendo system. Titanfall 2, if you want a good cry. Titanfall 2, BT7274. Is your Titan companion for the main character in the single player campaign of Titanfall 2. So good. And then Yes Man from Fallout New Vegas.
You got to talk about your one of the most maneuverable mains you can play in Apex Legends, Pathfinder.
Oh, Pathfinder. I actually don't play him too much. And I don't know
he's
why.
He's my main when I play Apex.
Because he's maneuverable, right? You can get around.
Super maneuverable.
If you know your stuff, you can get almost anywhere, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to stay away from Apex Legends because I want to avoid talking about it because I will just start talking about it and I will never stop.
Yeah, we're running short on time, man. We don't have all day.
The last honorable mention, I'll say this. I've said this before. Maybe it was our horror, underwater or horror. But if you haven't played Soma, if you like sci-fi horror games and you love a good story that really delves deep into themes about the nature of humanity, Soma is a game. Soma means body. I forget what language, but Soma. You can get on Steam. I don't know if it's out for console, but that's another one. You are a person who finds himself in the future in an underwater facility, and you have the body of a robot, and you don't know why. You're in an artificial body, but you are a human being. And you don't remember ever, the main character never remembers how he got this way.
How did I get here?
Yeah, exactly. So he has to explore, and there are other robots that are around that think they're human too. And so it gets into this whole philosophical thing. There's like an evil virus that's infecting robotics and having them attack you. And you've got other people. You got a friend who's a computer. She's in a computer program, but she's like, I know it's weird, but I'm a human being. You got to take my data disk and we got to insert it over here. You got to fight your way through or not fight. It's mostly sneaking and hiding and running. But Soma is a great game. If you haven't played it and you like those kinds of games, I can't recommend it highly enough.
Okay, so check out Soma. You heard it from Izzy, or he will come to your door and he will beat you up.
He will find you.
He will find you. Well, I mean, I think that's a good stopping point. There are so many robots, cyborgs, and androids to talk about. We kind of just scratched the surface, and in pop culture field manual prowess, we will say that we have to make a second episode about these just because we missed so many. But obviously, we're on a time crunch here, folks. So we are going to transition to our fan question that has nothing to do with robots at all. But Izzy, why don't you go ahead and read off our fan question here?
Taylor via Instagram wants to know, he says, here's a kind of weird question for you guys. Is it true that most veterans like Toby Keith, even if they don't necessarily like country music? I've met a lot of vets that hate country music, but will be like, Toby Keith is a badass, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blues, the song we went to war to.
And they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong at all. I'm not a big country music fan either. I enjoy country music when I'm like in the South. Obviously, it's a staple. And, I have a pair of shit kickers in my closet and a cowboy hat that I wear that I had to get for a Texas wedding. But honestly, once you wear it, you realize why they wear them because you feel so cool. But I don't mind Toby Keith. The only song I know by him is courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue because it is the song that literally put us to war.
It was made not long after 9/11. It's a super patriotic, super pro-American, super pro-military song. And I think that's probably why most military members like, just because they appreciate the support, they appreciate the positivity and the patriotism from Toby Keith. It's nice. It's nice. It's not the standard for a lot of people today. There's a lot of kind of un-American or anti-American sentiment for whatever reason around. So it's kind of refreshing when a celebrity, especially a singer or an actor, will come out and just be completely like, no, America's amazing. The American military is amazing. And I'm not ashamed to say it.
My daddy served in the army where he lost his right eye, but he flew out a flag in our yard until the day he died. He wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up happy and live happy in the land of the free. Yeah, it's a classic song, dude.
Now an evil attack.
And everybody will scream the lyrics.
Yeah, we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way.
American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name out there top of his list. And the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, man. It's gonna be hell when you hear the mother freedom start ringing her bell. Yeah, it's classic.
See, you know what I mean? You've probably it played on the radio so much back then that you're like
so much
automatically memorized the lyrics.
Yeah, I had to, man. But yeah, you're definitely right there, Taylor. Yeah, courtesy of the Red, White, Blue is iconic military song. But yeah, it's the only country song I know a lot of the words to. But hell, no, yeah, it's a great song, man. I absolutely love that song.
All right, that's the fan question. We got a game, Camerlama?
Camelama got the game, and yes, I am the game master. You ready to play, buddy?
I'm ready. I hope it's something super nerdy that Chris Taylor made, just because he and I tend to have a very similar tastes and breadth of experience with sci-fi and action and stuff like that.
I think we've played this game before, but this is a fun game called Death by Numbers. I'm going to give you a robot name that contains numbers, and you tell me what pop culture source it's from.
Oh.
Yes, folks, it's that easy. Oh my god, I thought it was going to be the game where we you say how many deaths are in this show.
Oh
or
my
TV
gosh.
series.
Oh, what a torturous
That was a
experience
hard one. But no, this one's super easy. So basically, like I said, I'm going to give you a robot name that has numbers in it, right. And you just tell me what pop culture source they are from.
Cool. Sounds simple enough.
Okay, yeah. So see, here's the warm-up. Super easy. You'll get this immediately. C-3PO.
Oh yeah, Star Wars. Yeah, C-3PO.
Yep, Star Wars. Okay,
I got to
so
dial it in.
Right?
I'm fading away a little bit. I got to focus in.
Okay, we'll get into this then. This one's another easy one, I think. Starting off, here we go. BB-8.
BD-8?
Bravo 8.
Oh, BB-8. That is also Star Wars. That is Force Awakens, where you first see BB-8. He's the little ball guy.
Yeah, little ball thing. Yep, you got
ball
it, buddy.
gag guy.
Okay, the ball gag guy. Got it. All right, next one. Now we're only going to refer to BB-8 as the ball gag robot. Okay. Next one, ED, Echo Delta 209. ED 209.
Ed 209. That is from
Ed 209.
That's Ed 209 from RoboCop.
Ed 209. You got it. Ed 209 is definitely.
You said it weird.
RoboCop.
I'm like, say it right.
Sorry, I don't freaking know. Okay, here we go. Maybe you'll know this one. Bending Unit 22.
Bending Unit 22?
Yeah. Bending Unit 22.
It's probably something familiar, but he's saying it in a weird way. Bending Unit 22.
I mean, I'll give you a hint. He has a nickname. This is his official name, but he has a nickname that he goes by the entire show. That's a big hint.
Oh, it's Bender from Futurama.
There you
Bending
go. I think I gave it.
22.
Yeah, Bending Unit 22 is his official name, but it is definitely Bender.
Okay.
From Futurama.
I didn't watch too many episodes of those. That's one I've seen like maybe 10 episodes total, but I know that.
Yeah, no, I was never a big Futurama fan.
Yeah. It's got some. Yeah. They got some classic ones, but I have friends who love that show. So.
Really?
Yeah.
I couldn't get behind it, but anyways, good job. You got him. You're doing great. This one is SID 6.7. SID 6.7. I'm assuming it's called SID.
SID 6.7. Ooh. SID 6. I feel like I've seen this, but it's not ringing a bell. Like I've genuinely. I know that there's Sid from the Final Fantasy series. That's the only Sid that I really remember. SID 6.7?
Yep.
SID 6.7. SID 6.7. I'm gonna have to give up on this one. I'm not sure. Okay,
this one's a little bit of an oddball one, but SID 6.7 is from Virtuosity.
Oh, that's
Russell Crowe's character.
He's the bad guy we were talking about. I just couldn't remember his name. SID 6.7. Yep. Oh, good one, Chris. Good one.
Got him. Okay, moving on. This one sounds like a rifle, but it's not. HK-47.
HK-47. Huh.
HK-47.
Shoot. HK-47. I mean, it could stand for Hunter Killer from Terminator stuff. I'm just HK-47. I feel like that's a character, like a specific character. I'm gonna go with Hunter Killer because I can't from like I don't know the tanks from Terminator. I don't know.
Okay. Unfortunately, you are dead wrong. It is from Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, HK-47, the red one, the red robot. He's actually a character that joins your party. That's a good
really?
one. Yeah, that's a good one. I was just reading about him yesterday, man. I think I was going to add him onto the episode, but I couldn't remember enough about him to speak intelligently, so I left him off. So that's my mistake.
Excuses.
That's my mistake.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine. You're just full of excuses. But anyways, moving on. This one, I hope you get this one. B4 Bravo-4.
B4, this is the lost brother to Data and Lore. It is the third model created by Dr. Noonien Soong, or kind of a prior model. He's almost like got a childlike personality, but we see him in Star Trek Nemesis.
Jesus, you are a mega nerd for that answer. You could have been like, "Oh yeah, Star Trek Nemesis," but you even knew what order he was in the creation.
Yeah, because he came before, so it's a little
right.
B4.
Just remember to get some fresh air today. Go walk outside for a little bit. Good. That was really good. Very impressive, buddy. All right, moving on. Nexus 7.
Ooh. Nexus 7, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a female robot name. Nexus 7. Ooh.
Are there female robots?
I mean, I don't know. Listen, I mean, anybody can be whatever.
What
they
is a
want.
woman?
Yeah, what is a woman? Anybody can be anything these days, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
If they feel like it that day. Nexus 7, I don't know. I can't. That's not ringing a bell.
Okay, that's fine. This one is from Blade Runner.
Oh.
One of the replicant models.
Oh, Nexus 7. I wonder if that's the one that goes to the toy maker, Nexus 7. Anyway. Oh, okay, cool.
Okay,
Nice.
so we got 3 more here. Almost done. You're doing great. UH3, UH8, and RV2.
UH3, UH8, and RV3?
RV2.
RV2. Ooh, UH3, UH8, and RV2. Man, oh man. So there's 3 of them. They're 3 different robots from something.
I would assume there are 3 different robots.
Yeah. UH3, UH8.
And I will give you a hint because, honestly, I think these are hard. You talked about this in great detail. So if you get it wrong, you're going to look silly.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Yeah. Really?
Oh, no. UH3, there's 3 of them. Is it the EVA designations from Neon Genesis Evangelion?
No.
Oh.
I'll give you one more chance.
UH3, UH8, and RV3, RV2?
RV2.
RV2, huh? Ugh.
5 more seconds until I give it to you.
Oh, no. Come on. I give up. Just tell me.
All right. Full silly goose mode activated. This is from Soma.
Oh, my gosh. Really? Okay. Well, I don't feel so bad about that because I did like the game, but boy, when it comes to number net designations, I don't remember that stuff.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to that shit.
I remember the soul of the game, okay?
Yeah. If you don't play this game, if you're going to play one game in your life, you got to play Soma. Can't even name the characters. Fake fan.
I'm a fake fan. I'm posing. I've never played Soma.
Poser. You never played it. I just was reading off Wikipedia.
Yep. I just wanted to sound cool.
Okay, that's fine, dude. Last 2 here. Let's see if we can finish them off strong.
Okay.
David 8.
That's from I think that's from Covenant, Alien Covenant. He is the other Michael Fassbender robot, the good one. Yeah.
You are correct. I also have Prometheus on here.
Oh, I was wrong. He's the bad guy.
No, it's in Alien Covenant.
Yeah,
too.
but he's in Alien Covenant. He's not the good one. He's the bad guy. David is the in Covenant it's Michael Fassbender, but there's another model that Michael Fassbender plays that's not named David. He's like, I don't know, Ethan or Nicholas or whatever.
Okay. Well, I mean, Chris put Prometheus and Alien Covenant, so I'll give it to you.
Hey, all right. I'll take it. I know Chris is yelling. He's like, no, that's not correct. He's going to be like, no.
No. Yeah, Chris is, he holds the standard.
That's
I'm
right.
like, yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
Man.
Yeah, it's
you
fine.
passed. Yeah. Close enough. Okay. Final one and see if you got it. And I hope you do. Robot B9.
Robot B9.
Robot B9. Actually, I was thinking this was a different game than what it is. But so if you get it, I'll be very surprised.
Robot benign. RB9. Benign like a tumor.
It just says Robot Bravo -9. Robot B/9.
Robot Bravo 9. Phew, brother. Man, that's not ringing a bell.
Yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah, brother. Only for the sake of time, because we gotta get out of here. I'm gonna give up and you just give it to me.
Okay. Robot B9 is Robbie the Robot from Lost in Space.
Oh, Robot B9, Robbie the Robot. Okay. Lost in Space. I got to finish watching that Netflix series. They remade it, and I never did finish it. So thanks for the reminder,
I thought
Chris.
This was a video game. Is Lost in Space not a video game?
It's an old television show, and then they made a movie, and then it was a television show on Netflix. They updated it, but yeah, it's kind of a cheesy classic '60s sci-fi show. And then they had a really lackluster, mediocre movie, and then a pretty good television show on Netflix.
Okay, right on. Well, man, you did as good as you did.
Hey,
that's what I will say.
You know what?
But folks, how did you do at home? Let us know. Obviously, this was a very hard game, and if you did very well, I'm concerned for you.
You got to get outside and get some sun with me. I'll meet you outside.
Get outside,
folks.
get some fresh air.
Yep.
But folks, that's all the time we have for this episode of the PCFM podcast. Deep dive into robots, androids, and cyborgs. Izzy, any final thoughts taking us out here?
I mean, as with many of our shows, we just can't get it in an hour's time. So we'll definitely have to do another one. But we appreciate you joining us, folks. Join us on the next episode. That being said,
cue music.
what's going on, everybody? You just listened to the free version of the PCFM podcast. If you want full-length versions of podcast episodes, plus much, much more, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/PCFM podcast.
That is right, Israel. If you want access to this full episode, you have to subscribe to the Fuzzy Private tier, which is our cheapest tier on Patreon at $5 a month. But if you are interested in a little bit more, we also have the Salty Sergeant tier at $8 a month and the Lifer tier at $12 a month. So hopefully we will see you there, PCFM family. Cue music.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
You've seen the sights on your TV. Now come and experience them in real life. Hi, it's Kristen Gates from iHeartMedia. Some of your favorite shows were filmed in Covington, Georgia. So come walk where the stars have walked from shows like The Vampire Diaries, The Dukes of Hazzard, and so many more. When you think of great stories and iconic films and TV sets, discover Covington and visit discovercovingtonga.com. That's discovercovingtonga.com. Take the tour and walk where the stars have walked in Covington, Georgia.